You're listening to a Frequency Podcast Network production.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Welcome to Thursday. My name is Brock.
I'm Dalby.
If you haven't seen, check in the podcast links. We'll throw the photos in there. Some guy out in Burlington got a photo of a goose just chilling out on Lake Ontario with this fucking eagle trying to attack it. And it is so fitting, like the imagery for basically our relations with the United States right now.
Right, like this goose, by all accounts, was just out on the water, just chilling, minding its own business. Even the guy who took the picture said it kind of looked like the goose was like maybe sick, maybe injured. And this fucking dick eagle just comes over and starts fighting it. And then the goose puts up enough of a fight that eventually the eagle's just like, fine then, and flies away.
It's basically what's going on between our two countries. We're just chilling here.
Right. We're dealing with our own shit right now here in Canada, and then all of a sudden this bald eagle prick from down south just comes over and is like, fight me. Like, we don't want to fight you.
Yeah.
Although, I will say, to take the politics and everything out of it, I think healthy goose beats eagle. Like,
yeah?
I don't know, man. Like, I know eagles got talons and stuff like that, but geese are just mean.
I mean,
they're just aggressive.
I'm scared of geese. Everybody knows this about me.
Right.
But I think I'd be more scared of an eagle coming at me, dude.
See, I don't know about that. I feel like eagle would be easier to hit.
It's the talons, man. The talons. Like, once they, like, dig into you or whatever, that beak looks a lot stronger. I mean, the goose can just shit everywhere, I guess. Gross out factor. Right?
Hey, I know people who've won a fight with that exact strategy, so...
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Here's a wild headline for you.
All right.
Health Canada issues a recall for hash in the province of Ontario. This is legit real, man.
Wow.
I saw this last night. Apparently over 4,100 units of hash have been recalled at Ontario cannabis stores between January 10th and February 12th. They're asking the public to return their hash to the store that they brought it from, or you can go to canada.ca and you can fill out an online complaint form for a refund.
The Government of Canada's website is handing out hash refunds.
What kind of weird Trailer Park Boys episode is this?
The times they are a-changin', as Bob Dylan said.
If this was like 10, 12 years ago, that would have felt like a sting operation.
Well, that's a trap, right?
Yeah.
Anytime before legalization, if the government was like, hey, listen, we're not trying to judge anyone. We just found out there's some bad hash out there, and if you bring it in, we'll totally take care of you. You'd be like, okay, narc.
Yeah. I also didn't know that you're just allowed to return stuff to dispensaries. Is that a thing? Can you go, like, if you get a case of beer and you're like, oh, this smells weird, it tastes kind of funky, you can take it back, right?
Yeah, I guess if you, like, because if you bought, say you buy a 2-4, you crack one, it's clearly bad. If you bring the other 23 back, they can probably do something. But if you buy...
like a pre-roll or something?
If you buy, like, pre-rolls, yeah, you could probably open them up and be like, oh, there's something wrong with this. But, like, if you opened up just marijuana and, like, busted it up, rolled it up yourself, and then you were like, this didn't work... Like, I feel like the dispensary is going to be like, okay, bud.
You, like, bringing back your roach?
Yeah, like, how are you supposed to prove?
It's like at a restaurant where you can only eat so much before you can complain.
Right, before it's, okay, well, you ate the whole meal, so obviously it must be fine.
I only took half of the edible.
Right, and it didn't hit at all. I didn't feel anything. So what am I supposed to do with this
The
now?
world is changing, man. Imagine hitting up your dealer for a refund back in the day.
Oh, God, you'd be run off the porch. You'd be running for your life.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
I saw a study that didn't really surprise me at all. Out of 2,000 employed adults, 74% said that they struggle to make light conversation with their coworkers.
Yeah, I feel like that's low.
Basically saying, like, 3/4 of the people in any given office are dreading having to make small talk with the people they work with.
Coworker small talk sucks.
It's just, there's never any meat behind it. You know what I mean? Like, there are people that you'll work with every day for years, and neither of you have any interest in what's going on with each other. But for some reason, if you both happen to be going to the work fridge at the same time, you feel the need to talk to one another.
No, the weather's crazy, eh?
Oh, how about you get caught in that traffic on the way in this morning, and you're just both like...
Just pulling teeth.
God, kill me. 48%, so almost 50%, admitted that they'll use email or like Teams or Zoom or something like that to send notes to coworkers that they need to talk to, even if they're close. Like if they're sitting even as far away as you and me in this studio right now, to avoid having conversations, they will send each other IMs and emails.
I think that's just society in general, man. I mean, I don't think small talk is as bad as some people make it out to be. I think we've just become more awkward as a society.
Yeah, eye contact thing is a big thing that like we don't have anymore.
Well, if you say that, I will say there are some moments where small talk is just absolutely brutal. Like in the bathroom. Absolute no for small talk for me.
That's the thing. If we're going to fight to bring back small talk, we've got to be cognizant of where we're doing it. We shouldn't be having any talk in the bathroom.
Urinal TED Talks are the worst, especially when someone's making eye contact and then you see their eye contact drop down at the urinal. Or even weirder is when you're doing a number two. And it's like a weird dating show where you can't see them. Like,
that's just it. Yeah, you're stuck in your little cubicle of smells and emotions. And I don't need to know what's going on outside these four walls. I came in here with a fully charged phone and the Wi-Fi signal, and I'll leave when I'm done.
It's the bathroom, and if I ever have a cigarette, that's like the worst time for small talk. There's some people that just want to yap. It's like, dude, shut up. Let me take my 11 minutes off my life and get back to my family.
Because for some people, it's like, you know, Harley people, Jeep people, you feel like you have something in common so you can bond over it. Some smokers are like that. Like, oh, you're trying to kill yourself slowly? I'm trying to kill myself slowly.
It's the people who bum cigarettes that try and have the conversations. It's like, we get it, man. You feel bad for asking?
Yeah.
Just keep it moving.
Can I buy a cigarette off you for $1? Only if you promise me that this won't devolve into you telling me about your day.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
In your opinion, what's the worst place for small talk?
Convenience stores. When you work as a cashier, oh my God, you're a therapist. Guaranteed. Guaranteed.
I think anyone that works a self-checkout, you probably hear the same cheesy jokes over and over again, too.
Oh my God, the weather, anybody's horror stories of their life, their day.
You get the regulars who think they know you.
Oh my God. Hey girl, how's it going? Hey girl.
We are not friends. This apron does not make me your friend.
No, please let me check you out and go, please.
Just because you buy 6 packs of Pall Mall a week does not make us friends.
Exactly right.
It's probably the same thing with anyone that works in a bar too, right?
Honestly, like that was the first thing that I thought of when she said, like, you become a therapist. The old joke is that you'll tell things to your bartender you wouldn't tell to your therapist. If you hate small talk, you can't be a bartender.
What is the worst job for small talk? I mean, massage therapist has got to suck too. You're rubbing someone down.
Massage therapist is probably not great, but there's probably a lot of people that are like me that like, okay, we'll get the small talk out of the way and then I'm just going to like be quiet. For my money, the worst job for small talk is what your girlfriend does.
Oh, hairdresser?
A hairdresser.
Yeah.
Because as much as there's some people that love to sit in the chair and be like, let's just be quiet today, there are a ton of chatty
I get some
Cathys.
tea when she gets home sometimes.
There are people who will sit down in that chair and just be like, okay, I'm going to tell you everything that's happened in the last 3 months in my life.
You want to talk about sitting in a chair? Strip clubs probably have the most awkward conversations.
Well, the small talk in a strip club is just both sides coping with what's going on.
Yeah.
Right? There's one side that's like, I'm not necessarily pumped that I have to pay to get this kind of attention. The other side's like, this is not how I pictured making my money. So you're just like, come here often?
I feel like strippers and gynecologists probably have the same awkward small talk, you know?
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
What's the worst song to hear in the Uber or your taxi as it pulls up? The only reason I bring that up is because we got this bad line message.
So recently I started driving for Uber, and I got a complaint the other day, a complaint or a strike, whatever you want to call it, for playing aggressive music. I was just ripping some Metallica and some Pantera the other day. Some girl did complain about it, but I mean, it's my car. Like, what the fuck's the problem? Some fucking people, right?
You know, I get it. Like, if I pulled up in the Uber and you're ripping some Metallica, some Pantera, whatever it is, I'm probably giving you an extra tip, but it's not for everyone.
Well, yeah, I mean, for some people, that's a lot. I would say the best part is if somebody rolls up to your house and they're playing like something like this song, I would say the best news about that is like it might be an aggressive drive, but you're probably going to get there real fast.
It's true.
Like you're not going to spend a lot of time on the roads.
They're
if
pedal
this
to
is
the metal
song.
for sure. For
absolutely.
Sure. I do think the music, like when you get into a cab or an Uber, can kind of like, I don't know, set the tone a little bit, right?
It
Like,
lets you know what you're probably in for.
I mean, I most definitely think there should be a playlist of songs like not to play. Like if you're an Uber driver, you most definitely shouldn't be ripping. I'm gonna get the next car, you know?
Yeah, I think can you send somebody else around? Can we take somebody else?
Anything of that nature, even just like if you pulled up and you opened the door to a Honda Accord. How's your night going?
Like, oh, you know what?
Is it just you?
My legs are feeling really good. All of a sudden, I feel like I could probably walk all the way across town. I think that's what I'll do. I get that like heavy music can be off-putting. I get that like there's inappropriate songs, but
Sure.
also if you get into an Uber, is it worse to have the aggressive music or something that's going to put you to sleep? A little. Also, just any like vehicle that crashed, we probably shouldn't play its theme song.
Sure. I will say though, all of this is better than sitting in silence in the Uber.
Just he's driving, you're in the back, nobody's talking.
Just the sound of turn signals and windshield wipers.
I don't know, because I still think I would rather have silence than.
Oh yeah. That's what you give to your 1-star customers.
The Brock and Dobby Podcast.
We had a lot of great suggestions for worst song to hear in the Uber. Every time I think about you, I touch myself, like a virgin being a big one on there.
Just a lot of ones that, like, if you don't know a person and this is on their playlist, you go,
Tiptoe Through the Tulips was also on there.
Tiptoe Through the Tulips you could put on in your car if we were driving together and I'd get uncomfortable.
It's a terrifying song to hear just about anywhere.
Absolutely.
We got friend of the show, Ashley, on the phone. Ashley, what do you think about the music in the Uber?
I will take any music. I don't really care about that. I'll take it over silence, but I'll also take it over listening to any private conversation. I cannot
like when they're on
stand
the
it.
phone?
Yeah, and like with like their misses or like whatever it is, all of their kids, all of their friends. Oh, it drives me crazy.
I hate taking phone calls in public, let alone with a stranger in the car.
I'll take you one further. I hate taking phone calls. I don't want anyone to call me other than during this show, much less when I'm driving.
I will definitely ignore that phone call. Absolutely. Especially during work. Come on. I'm not allowed to take personal phone calls at work.
Uber drivers might be the only people that do take personal calls while at work.
Excuse me. I feel like this could have been an email.
It's Uber drivers and drug dealers.
That's it.
Exactly.
The Brock and Dobby Podcast.
The Brock and Dobby Podcast.
I was laughing online. Did you see Doug Ford yesterday? He's asked people to stop texting him during the night because he says he's getting a barrage of messages and is interrupting the few hours of sleep he is able to get.
First of all, I was like, wow, that's crazy. Doug Ford and I both get about the same 5 hours of sleep a night, so that's something we have in common. But also, like, why do just average voters have Doug Ford's phone number?
I think it's just in general. He's probably just with everything that's going on. It's politicians, it's people. Everyone's just probably messaging him right now.
That's right. And also, like, who's up at like 3 a.m. just being like, Doug, are we going to turn the power off in New York or what's the deal?
Yeah. I mean, he's probably talking to people in different time zones. I mean, you got to think about it. A politician's phone is probably blowing up all the time.
Oh, absolutely. And especially because Doug has always carried himself as like man of the people. So he'll give it out at like tour stops and stuff like that. But even like imagine what Justin Trudeau's phone looks like on any given day.
Yeah.
Of just like dignitaries,
I feel like
politicians.
he's got notifications off right now. I'm not going to lie.
Seems like a big do not disturb guy.
Yeah.
He gets to like 7 o'clock. He's putting on primetime TV and being like, all right, Canada, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah. Who do you think has the busiest phone on the planet? Like gets the most notifications, the most dings at all times?
I'll say this. Because I feel like before he became 2-time president of the United States, Donald Trump was probably a big take my number guy.
There's something that tells me that he doesn't actually use his own phone, though.
No, but I'm sure it's like over in the corner in the hands of a handler or something like that, just constantly vibrating to death. Someone who I bet is on their phone constantly, Elon Musk. Think of all the like Twitter notifications he's getting.
True.
Plus all the texts and everything
Emails.
else, all that stuff. His phone probably shakes a lot.
Dude, honestly, thinking about it now, whoever's Kanye West's agent,
oh,
their
God.
phone just must... It's sporadic like days,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah.
He'll wake up some mornings, there's no notifications. He'll wake up other times. His phone died while plugged in. It was shaking so hard.
That agent never has a "I'll get back to you, I'm on vacation" like notification.
Although I feel like the same way for Jackie sometimes after our show.
Yeah.
Like at 9 o'clock, I bet Jackie starts getting a lot of notifications too.
I don't think any of our T-shirts we've ever sold have done anything to her phone like that.
The Brock and Dobby Podcast.
Friend of the show, Jeremy, said, "What do you think Doug Ford's ringtone is?"
Oh, easily Doug Ford. First of all, he's still a ringtone guy. I
Oh, for
guarantee.
sure.
Still paying 99 cents to get...
Ding 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 ding.
I can totally see him having something annoying like that. Or even like, I could see him just having the generic,
Oh,
totally strikes me as a duck guy, and then his text tone is just the... And he probably still thinks it's awesome.
oh yeah, he's like, every time it goes off, he's like, wait, if I don't answer the text right away, it'll play again.
Yeah.
I want to hear it one more time.
He's got the da-na-na, da-na-na. When did ringtones become almost unacceptable? I feel like I don't even know what my ringtone is.
I mean, that's the thing is like I can remember going to college, getting my first cell phone in the early 2000s, and then that was the thing, right? Is once phones could start playing songs, it was all you could do to try and get the coolest ringtones. But I feel like by 2010, 2012, somewhere in that like early 2010s, people were just like, if I hear your phone, I'm gonna freak out.
It's always on vibrate. I mean, used to get excited to pay $9.99 to have Buck Cherry Crazy Bitch play every time you called me.
Oh, absolutely. There was a time where if you called my phone, you were definitely going to hear.
No chance.
And I felt so cool while like letting it play out. Like on a bus. I used to take the bus to work and I just let that ring.
There was even a thing that you could pay for that when people called you, instead of hearing the like bring, bring, you could have a song like
That's
queued
right.
up.
Play
while-
back to them. Now, could you imagine if you tried to like, you're trying to call me to set something up for the show or whatever, and instead of hearing a ringing phone, you just start hearing music? Like, you'd be like, what the hell is wrong with this guy?
Doug Ford probably has one of those, and it's, I got the power.
The Brock and Dobby Podcast.
There's all this talk right now about booze and where it comes from. The LCBO in Ontario, all across the province, has taken all the American booze off the shelves. Other stores across the country doing the same. And I started digging into it because the LCBO is one of the biggest liquor purchasers in the world. Their brands that they bring in are in bigger numbers than almost anywhere else. And it turns out we were actually already doing a pretty good job of buying Canadian. 4 out of the top 10 brands of spirits bought in 2024 were already Canadian.
Okay.
But I put together a list because the number one, I will tell you, number one is not Canadian, so we need to work on that. I've got the top 10 most purchased spirits from 2024, according to the LCBO in Ontario. You tell me what those 10 brands are. I'll give you a minute to do it.
Okay, so just spirits, no beer, no wine?
No beer, no wine, because I mean, some of those wine brands, I was like, I've never heard of this in my life.
Okay.
And beer, there's just too many options. But I feel like there's nothing shocking on this list of top 10s. This is basically to see if you need AA.
All right, okay, let's see. Let's get the timer
All
going,
right.
count me in here.
60 seconds starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Is Smirnoff on there?
Smirnoff is number 1.
Crown Royal?
Crown Royal, number 2.
Oh, Jose Cuervo?
Jose Cuervo, not on the list.
Jim Beam?
No Jim Beam.
Jack Daniels?
No Jack Daniels.
40 Creek?
40 Creek, number 9.
Hey, there we go. Captain Morgan's?
Captain Morgan, number 6.
Canadian Club?
Canadian Club, number 8.
Nice. Bacardi?
Bacardi, number 4.
Nice. Okay, Wiser's?
Wiser's, number 3.
Is Fireball on there?
Fireball's not on there.
Damn it, Absolute.
Absolute, number 5.
Grey Goose?
No Grey Goose.
Jameson?
No Jameson.
Bombay?
No Bombay.
Pink Whitney?
No.
Tito's?
Tito's is number 7. You got one left.
Aviation Gin?
No.
Maker's Mark?
No.
Johnny Walker?
Johnny Walker.
Yes!
Yeah. He got all 10 with time to spare.
I may have a drinking problem.
You miserable drunk, you.
All of those are pretty good, actually.
So looking at the list, Crown Royal, Wiser's 2 and 3, plus Canada Club and 40 Creek 8 and 9. We're already buying a lot of Canadian whiskey. Smirnoff and Tito's are the ones that are going to disappear. Those are American. And then the other ones are just from around the world.
Smirnoff coming in at number 1 is on the sole basis of people just still icing each other.
Absolutely. Yeah. Smirnoff is making a lot of money on memes, and they're not going to try and stop
Nobody over the age of 20 actually buys a bottle of Smirnoff vodka anymore.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Just text us. Just text us.
Time for you to send a text. 762-555. Ask us anything you want. We'll try to reply. Just text us. 762-555. Just text us. 762-555. What an experience that was.
You didn't know me and Jeff Martin are related.
Really?
I know you couldn't tell the difference there, but that was me. That wasn't Jeff singing.
Had no idea. If I had closed my eyes, I would have sworn I was in some dive bar somewhere.
First question in here says, if you could only listen to one song for the rest of your life, what song would it be?
You know, it's funny. I was just reading this thing the other day about someone complaining about Bohemian Rhapsody because it's so different with the tempo changes and the song styles and all that. But if you could only listen to one song forever, maybe that's the one because it feels like it's more than one song. You know
I feel like you got to go with something like very long. Like, if you know NoFX, they have a song called The Decline, which is almost like 30 minutes long. What is, actually, good question. What is the longest song in the world?
While you look that up, I will also make a case for Freebird. Kind of goes
8
through
minutes,
a couple different tone shifts, and it's iconic. Stairway.
Here's the perfect answer. I do not know how to say this name. Sri Ramachartamanas.
Yeah, sure.
Is a song that is 138 hours, 41 minutes, and 20 seconds long.
It'd take you forever to get through that.
That's the perfect song because you'd never get bored of it.
What does it sound like is the thing, though, because I get where you're coming from of like 138 hours. Oh, my God, you'd never get tired of it. You could listen to different chunks. But what if it sucks? 138 hours of bad music is not better than 4 minutes
I think
of
it's a
good
case of 138 hours. I think it's a case of someone telling them not to stop recording.
Just
is what
keep
it
going,
is.
brother. Just let it buck.
Someone said, what is an unspoken rule that everyone follows but nobody actually talks about?
I mean, here in Canada, it's the take your shoes off at the door thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are so many other countries where people just stroll right in wearing shoes.
That and the urinal rule. I think, at least for guys, I don't know how it works in the women's washroom, but the urinal rule is that you don't take the middle one.
Right.
If there's 3, you go on the outsides, you don't go in the middle, you leave it open.
You do your best under any circumstances to leave a gap, including going and taking a stall if necessary.
Yeah.
That's one that no one's ever said it. No one's ever put up like a list, but we all just know.
Yeah.
We don't touch shoulders.
What's another one here? It says, who is the most evil person you've ever met in your entire life?
Most evil person I've ever met in my entire life?
There was a guy that murdered someone in an apartment building I lived in.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Actually, when I worked for a radio station in Edmonton, we used to do a big Halloween party every year, complete with a big money costume contest. This dude built a Bumblebee Transformer costume and hung out with our road crew the whole night, won the contest.
Yeah.
Was in the paper a year later for murdering folks.
That's like this guy in our building. He lived at the end of the hall.
Yeah.
We had drinks with him one time. And then it was just when I started working in radio, there was this huge story that they had caught this guy who had murdered his boyfriend in BC and he'd been hiding out, and working at a bar in town. It was the guy that lived at the end of the hall with me. We had drinks with him before.
That's terrifying.
He seemed like super normal, and then it turned out he like murdered his boyfriend, ditched the body in an alley, and then just moved up as far as he could in northern BC.
Damn. Yeah, so it's just one of those things where, like, you always see on the news when somebody breaks bad and people are like, he just never seemed like the type. And then to have that moment for yourself, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's creepy.
Someone you're talking to today could be a murderer.
Honestly, someone you talk to today probably already is.
Yeah.
Just keep that in mind when you go about your day.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Ed's word of the day.
Let's see what he's got.
Good morning. Today's word is avow. Yep, avow. A-V-O-W. Avow. I don't think I screwed that up. Anyways, to declare or admit openly with confidence and without shame. I did a vow once. That's different, though. Anyways, have a great one. Cheers are up.
Is he referencing like a wedding vow at the end there?
That's what I'm taking it, yeah.
The difference between a vow and a vow, which is, again, to assert or confess openly.
So, I mean, sometimes you might have to cancel your vows because you confessed an a-vow.
You avowed to some things that ruined your vows. That's definitely one. Also, I feel like at some point or another, we've all had 6 to 10 to 15 to 45 beers and avowed all over the room.
Just remember, don't avow until you speak to your lawyer.
Yeah, well, always a good plan of attack to make sure you're legally covered.
Avow. Use it wherever you can today, all right?
For more Brock and Dalby, tune in weekday mornings 5:30 to 9.